Hello, everybody, and welcome to, WarCrafters. It's one of our 6 podcasts. This one is for March 23, 2025, Season 2, Episode 12. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI that's now over on this side, we do a news show about 5 entertainment. Well, this one is games. So we've got another podcast after this one called Technology Today, and then after that one is FourWheelTech. On Saturday, we had 3 others: Reality Hacker, Wanted, and
The Continuity Report.
There you go. And combined on Saturday, it becomes the next edition of Non Sequitur News, and combined on Sunday becomes the Sunday episode of Non Sequitur News. But if you want the individual shows, you can subscribe to them. So today we're going to be talking about chill crafting RPG, Skyvale, tactical shooters, BG3 Raise the Bar, and auto battlers, and a little bit more. But everything is brought to you by ohmTown. So go over to ohmtown.com, become a citizen, and be sure to click on that the little blue arrow will disappear, but if you click on subscribe, it'll take you over to youtube.com/ohmtown, where it'll automatically subscribe you. Well, it'll subscribe you, but automatically, and there might be a little check there. But anyway, go over there, follow us, like and subscribe, ring the bell, post, comment, tell a friend, come over to Twitch chat, and you can hang out with us there as well. We stream to both. And if you want today's show notes over at Twitch, you can hit exclamation point and then WC for WarCrafters, and that'll pull up the articles. Oh no, you know what I forgot to do?
Put the show notes in.
Put the show notes in. Lovely. Well, anyway, everything's powered by ohmTown, so go over there and check it all out. Do we want to do it live? I can drop it in there right now.
Yes.
Okay, so the show notes actually are embedded over in YouTube, and all it takes is for you to go over there and look at the show notes for today's live broadcast or the historical one. So if you're watching this after we do the live show, you can actually just hit the description link that is down below it, and you'll be able to review all of the links, not just the ones for WarCrafters, because I embed all 3 of today's shows in that. And if you want to watch all of the shows in rapid fire, there will be a Non Sequitur News Sunday weekend edition. That is just one long play. It's going to be over 2 hours based on how fast I'm doing today's post. Anyway, hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
All right, so now if you hit exclamation point WC for WarCrafters, you can also hit exclamation point pod, exclamation point shows, and exclamation point NSN, and those all have additional commands and or links. All right, well, this is what ohmTown looks like in the normal day, and when you click on the link for WarCrafters, it is underneath Creative and Maker, so WarCrafters right there, and then it'll look like that. And then under that is our first article. It's over in WarCrafters as well. Help, I can't move forward in this chill crafting RPG because I'm too wrapped up in building bases and making sick tools. Atelier, I guess, Yumia, the alchemist of memories and the envisioned land. It says they weren't the author of this article because we only aggregate a small amount and then we talk about it. Something apparently Google doesn't really like. But anyway, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect from this. It says the author, it was their first venture into Goose Atelier's series, which they had largely known as RPGs about crafting and chill vibes. As it turns out, Yumia is a fresh take on the Atelier series, so it worked out neatly. They'd been trying a new series of games, and the series was trying some new things, but even though they wanted went in expecting to get wrapped up in role-playing and adventure. They found themselves wholly immersed in something else. Apparently, just
We don't know what that is.
yeah. Apparently building bases and making sick tools. Eric Van Allen over at PCGamer.com put the article together. So I guess that's what it looks like. I've never played this before. So it says Atelier Yumiya mixes the crafting and gathering of survival games with the framework of a classic RPG. I don't know. So they found themselves.
I didn't know this. They had a series of these games.
Yeah, I didn't know either. It's something that I'm going to have to look into, obviously. They say here they went in expecting to get wrapped up in role-playing and found themselves wholly immersed in something else, picking up as many things as their bag could carry, scurrying back to my atelier, I guess. I don't know what that is. Atelier? Is that like a base? Like a rodent to a hovel. Yeah, house.
I thought it had something to do with fashion.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It's a workshop.
Workshop. Okay. And crafting and building until the bag was empty. Zoom back out. Atelier Yumiya is the newest game in the long-running series from Gust, or Goost. I don't know how it's pronounced. All about alchemists and item creation. The studio's been making this series since 1997. Wow. Atelier Marie.
Platform that was on.
It has to all be on Steam, right? I mean, I can do a quick search. Hold on. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's from all the way from 1997 until now. There's a bunch of DLC and stuff like that that's been added on. I cannot count how many. It's one full. Oh my gosh. I am scrolling and scrolling. I don't know how many are on here. So there's quite a few. Hold on. Those that are just named Atelier or Atelier, I'm not sure how it's actually pronounced, is half of an entire page. But if I sort it by release date, the last one was March 20th, 2025. Atelier Yumiya, the Alchemist of Memories. So that's this.
Okay, so that's this one, yeah.
And so it says, as part of the research expedition in new land, Yumiya and the player is tasked with venturing into a new territory, making discoveries and clearing away the toxic mana-bound fog. It's open world rather than the larger open zones that they've heard about from the Ryza games, and it has some interesting tools for interacting with the world. So it's basically right behind the main player. It's not first-person view. Like through the eyes, it's over the shoulder. Actually, it seems like it's right behind them. But then there's a big crafting component to it. It says it feels really rewarding to come back from a long trek of exploring and hoovering up plants, rocks, and wildlife, then dumping all of that into an alchemical weapon or component that has, to their understanding, been a hallmark of the Atelier series, and it shines here with an open world approach and so many places to explore, though the feeling of uncovering new and unseen fauna that can be magically zapped into a sick new scythe really gels for me. It seems like it would gel for me too. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it has a character creation. You are that person, and that is probably the one thing that turns me off to this kind of a game. I don't like being...
You like being able to pick or create your own character.
Yeah. But you might like the story and the chill elements of the crafting components, and it seems like it's PvE and not frenetic combat. All of these systems, it says, working in concert have effectively frequently distracted them from moving forward in the main quest. They do really like having a narrative framework around typically survival genre pursuits, and while the plot has been a bit slow burn, even in the 15-hour mark, the characters are enjoyable, especially Yumiya, who's constantly wrestling with her own legacy and the public's distaste for alchemy. Hey.
Yeah, this is interesting. It seems like it has a good mix of stick to the main storyline or kind of venture off as you see fit.
Yeah, those open world elements are really what speak to me. Again, the only thing would be I don't really like playing the one character that you're told to be, so to speak. And looks like there's base building, so I'm into that too. The thread
Yeah,
tying
the
it all
author
together is,
said they are venturing off and doing that kind of thing instead of sticking to what they're supposed to be doing.
yeah, I dig that. It says sorted between combat, gathering, and crafting. So it's a checklist of tasks to complete. Yeah, pioneering effort is what they call it. Tying it all together is the pioneering effort. It's a checklist. Interesting. I'm gonna have to go and check this out. And
I like it because it sounds like it has some structure to it, but you can be creative within that.
it has mixed reviews. That's the category that it's been thrown into, mixed, with 64% of the reviews being positive. But it's a $70 game.
Oh, wow. Well, I was going to say 64% positive to me sounds pretty positive knowing how all over the place people are. But yeah, the price is pretty high.
And one of the first comments is there's a good game buried beneath here. That's not to make any excuses. This is a $70 game after all. It should offer a $70 experience, but with some levels, I'm not sure if Gust or perhaps Koei, Koei, Koei Tecmo, are capable of that. So, and then they give a bigger review. And that comment is from somebody named Mental, but it's Mentle. I don't know. You have to be mental to pay $70
Take
for a game.
reviews with a grain of salt, I think.
True. Yep, I agree. Let's keep going. The next article is over in WarCrafters as well. That's the name of the show after all, but we don't always take news from only the WarCrafters channel. Seekers of Skyvale, the MOBA. It's an extraction shooter mashup. So MOBA extraction shooter mashup is shutting down less than a month after release. Quote, "We have no choice but to bring this short journey to an end." 6 years ago, a bunch of former BioWare, Blizzard, and Riot developers formed Elodie to work on a game that eventually became Seekers of Skyvale, a novel blend of MOBA action and the extraction format made popular by games like Escape from Tarkov. The team at PC Gamer had positive things to say about it, and the former editor, Tyler Culp, saying that it might have cracked a new subgenre, but the game never climbed above a mixed user rating on Steam since launching earlier this month. Neither has that previous game.
Right, but I just don't get all the resources into the game prior to release. Why not keep it going?
There must be a slow burn on the other side of it, so people basically think that it's gonna live forever, but apparently not. I don't get it either. What is the cost here to run a game like this other than the server costs?
Right, I would say it's pretty minimal, and they've already sunk all those resources into it, so at this point, let it run for a while.
Yeah, maybe they just, if they can't find a way to keep on getting revenue, then it's one and done and people just don't buy.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have to keep on creating content. It says developer Elodie will close its doors the same day it sunsets its ambitious debut game, which kind of sucks. Elodie, within the blog post, Elodie team thanked its players for giving it a chance. Your enthusiasm, feedback, and love for Seekers of Skyvale meant everything to us. I don't know if they've done like a forensic analysis of this to see what really caused it, but they just say without the necessary funding to continue development and marketing efforts, we have no choice but to bring this short journey to an end. And it was the first game released by Elodie. It wasn't the first that the studio had worked on. It initially secured $32.5 million in investor funding to make a social co-op game before what the studio calls a major pivot saw the project evolve into the game that actually was released. Those who did give Seekers a shot in the first month will be refunded for any in-game currency or DLC purchases they made, and all server locations will be available for the next 10 days. Wow, they're shutting down fast.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that over time they're going to need money to sustain it and update it, etc. But this just seems like a really quick period. And was it only contingent on it being a super hit?
Yeah. I mean, $32 million, but that was the initial funding. So it ran for 6 years without launching anything. It worked on other stuff, apparently. Justin Wagner over at PCGamer.com put this article together. It really is kind of, it sucks for some because they've put money and time and like me, when I find a game that I am really in love with, I want it to live forever. Things like WoW have evolved over time and ushered in a different mindset in gameplay. And so I stopped playing WoW. But I was a beta tester during WoW, and before it launched, I was a beta tester, and I played that game hardcore for I don't know how many years, 8 years or something like that. And then it seemed to pivot away. If it doesn't catch on, then it's almost dead in the water nowadays because there's so much competition so easily.
That's true, but on the other hand, there are games that pick up users over time, and it seems like there's not even enough time to really discover it, because if something else major launched that same day or something, maybe people will come around to finding it. Who knows?
Yeah, it's one of those things where 10 years from now somebody's going to go, oh my god, do you remember this game? And there's a server that seems to have appeared somewhere. So it always gives them a heavy heart to see these games go, especially so quickly, being purely... This is 18 days after it launched early access, by the way. So the runway was short, right. Apparently less than a month. So, yeah, I don't know. It says such rapid closures are upsettingly common these days, with the recent Star Wars Hunters not even making it to its Steam launch. Wow. So
I think this is setting a bad trend too, because while this may be kind of a new, quote unquote, new developer, it's not really, right? It has people from major studios, but when indie studios see this kind of thing, are they even tempted to get into the genre at all?
Yeah, it's almost like you should just be an indie and do it as a side gig until you know that it catches on. I mean, Balatro, for crying out loud.
Right.
It's insane what Balatro has done. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in WarCrafters as well. This upcoming Korean tactical shooter features situational awareness AI that reminds the author of the uber-smart clones from Monolith's Fear. Doesn't take much to get them thinking about the Monolith's classic FPS Fear, but it barely left their thoughts since Warner Brothers' baffling decision to shut down the veteran studio, which also created games like No One Lives Forever and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Yet, it's Monolith's 2005 shooter that is in their favorite of its games, mainly because of its landmark AI design. Its army of clones was eerily capable of outflanking and outfoxing you as you battled through the game's office complexes and research labs. I've always been surprised by some AI or some programming that makes it so that you just can't get out of the way of something and you can't trick it into falling off a cliff or whatever.
Right. It almost like thinks its strategy or something based on what the player is doing.
Yeah, so Rick Lane, I think, flags this, or I don't know if it's quoted in the title, Situational Awareness AI. So I don't know if that's actually used by this, but Rick Lane over at PCGamer.com put this article together. In Project TH, the AI system is designed to actively utilize environmental structures to apply continuous pressure on the player. So it knows what else is out there so that it can mess with you.
I don't know what TH is. More fun for the player, right? More engagement, maybe more frustration.
So it's Project Two Hearts is what it's called. but this is a Korean tactical shooter. So the name is in Korean. So Project TH, short for Project Two Hearts, is a third-person stealth action game with shades of Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon Wildlands. But it was a recent overview of the game's enemy navigation and movement systems that got them thinking about Monolith's classic FPS. In Project TH, the AI system, is designed to actively utilize environmental structures to continuously apply pressure to the players. Our player explains developer EVR Studio in the video's description. To achieve this, we've integrated situational awareness AI, there you go, with dynamic navigation, allowing the AI to employ tactical movement strategies rather than simply pursuing the player along linear paths. And I think that's groundbreaking in the sense that the movement is dynamic. My problem that I've ever seen with all of this is it doesn't seem like the antagonists know what the layout of the world is, even though they
I see. Okay.
theoretically have existed there longer than the player. So they don't necessarily jump over a railing like that. They'll go all the way around, which doesn't make any sense. The AI would never jump from a ledge onto another ledge. They'd wait.
It would take the closest route.
But it would be like the very standard pathing, whatever has been programmed in as a solid surface. It'll go like all the way around the building.
Right. But it won't take a unique path, even though it might be quicker.
Yeah, or the path that the player would take simply because the AI. But this one, we just watched the AI climb up, which seems to be fairly unique to games that I have seen. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe this is a good sign for future games.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be interesting. So the article continues to go on, but we'll just kind of jump through this because you can follow the link over to pcgamer.com and read more about it. I just wanted to highlight this situational awareness AI that's going to be coming for you.
Is this similar to AGI, do you think?
Yeah, really. It's built off of that programming from the AI that was put inside a container and told to find the way out, and it learned how to...
Absolutely. We thought that was for real life applications, but no, that was to improve gaming experiences.
Correct. Yep. Hey man, tactical to practical. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the WarCrafters channel as well. Wizards of the Coast gaming head says Baldur's Gate 3 certainly raised the bar and changed how they think about big budget D&D, but they still want different entry points, including smaller games, which is really just a, hey, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So earlier this week, Wizards of the Coast Senior Vice President of Digital Games, Dan Ayoub, I guess, said that we don't have to wait too long to see what the company has in store for D&D. In an interview with PC Gamer, the author asked them to join to answer what they meant by soon. That's like a TM, yeah, soon. In fact, means something or it's going to come out in 2025. The CEO said, or the vice president of digital games says, definitely. I don't know about that. Didn't they just
2027?
Yeah, really. They just closed something. Hold on. What was that game? It's a tabletop. Virtual tabletop. Yeah, Sigil VTT. Wizards of the Coast just laid off 90% of the staff that was involved with Sigil VTT.
I think that might have been in last week's show.
I don't know if it was last week's or this sometime during this week, but you know what you should do as a viewer of WarCrafters and ohmTown shows? You should go back and watch all of last week and post a comment where you found our entertaining
if you
discussion.
Didn't, go back to the week before.
Yeah, and then the week before that, and the rinse and repeat. That's right. and they tell their friends, and they tell their friends, and so on. So not every D&D video game moving or going forward will be trying to replicate Baldur's Gate 3's dizzying depth, but you know what? I guess they're not going to get the dizzying growth
Revenue.
and revenue and fandom that's born from the entire thing. Yeah. So while the author, and again, that's Wes Fenlon from PCGamer.com. In fact, I don't think I said the name. While they couldn't lure Aob into saying the words Baldur's Gate 4 in their interview, they did talk about the impact Baldur's Gate had on the company's future plans for video game adaptations of D&D. So they say that they'll speak for themselves. They were excited about BG3 for a lot of reasons, but they think that it showed a lot of people what was possible in that universe, and they've been playing D&D almost their entire life, and it's probably why they make video games today. They've also been so excited to make D&D video games here, so they think that they can do some tremendous things with D&D. So Wizards has a bunch of IP, so I'm not going to be surprised that something comes out, but will it rise to that level? I don't know. Killing the Sigil VTT, that means that maybe they're going to take that IP and do something else and call it some other virtual tabletop.
Yeah, but remember, they just laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah, you get rid of the expensive people and you hire cheap people, right? That's how it works. That's prudent business.
Sure.
You know? So they asked if Wizards has any plans to remaster or re-release some of the back catalog of D&D games, like, say, Eye of the Beholder. But like the seasoned level 20 executive that they stayed on message. I really look forward to talking about some of our plans around D&D, he said with a laugh. That's the, never mind.
Right. Don't look over here.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? You just triggered the memory of Wicked.
With the wizard.
Yeah, that was a fascinating movie. And long, but its pacing actually seemed to, kick it up a notch. Anyway, it was a fun watch, but when you said, don't look, yeah. Fun story. It's only part 1. So.
Right, and I think part 2 is actually coming out sometime in the near future, or soon, as Wizards of the Coast would say.
Soon, TM. All right, let's go to our last article. It's over in Aerith, which is about world building. MMBN-inspired auto battler game Berserk Bits launches for PC via Steam in Q4 of 2025. There's a demo available, but the article is over at rpgsite.net. Kite Stenbeck put the article together. Capcom's Mega Man Battle Network series is what inspired them to write about this thing. The demo version of the game is available right away on the Steam page, and it lets you check how much inspiration this game is taking from MMBN games. Being an auto battler game, the closest title it plays to will be Mega Man Battle Network 4.5, which was not included in the MMBN Legacy Collection. So you can choose whether to have your NetNavi-like bit use battle chips on their own, or send the chips by yourself, just like in MMBN 4.5. And the game will even have a feature to load your own design sprites as a bit. So this is a bit, this is a bit,
Oh,
this
okay.
is a bit.
So it says coming soon, although the demo is available.
Yeah, I actually loaded this up. I didn't get to take a look at it, but Berserk Bits. So yeah, it looks like Mega Man, just not as colorful, or it's a different coloration. But anyway, one of the big difference between Berserk Bits we'll have from the MMBN games is in the battle chip generation system. Instead of collecting permanent chips and storing them in a folder, players must first hatch eggs into bot creatures that will periodically generate a specific chip to be sent off, and the player will also have to take care of the bots by feeding them when they're hungry and cleaning their poop from the, it says decorable room, from the room that can be decorated.
I know that was some odd phrasing.
So they post in this post basically everything that is in the description of the
like from the Steam page
from the
or
Steam
something.
page.
Or
Yeah.
like the
So
press release.
Yeah, essentially. So Berserk Bits is an idle RPG auto battler chip collecting game that runs on your desktop alongside your other applications. So if you have multiple monitors, you can just set it on to the side and sit there and watch it. It's like Eidolon, which is this really, really popular idle combat game that just sits there and does its thing, and then you use the resources that it generates while you're working. Create your own personal bit, campaign and side quests, battle chips, home decoration, and medals. And then it says collect powerful battle chips and then send your bit to battle. Ta-da! They say that there's going to be long-term support, but all the best laid plans, you know.
Exactly. Let's try to exceed 18 days.
Ooh, that hurts. Looking at you, Skyvale. All right. Well, that's it, folks. We're going to send our bit to send us back to the front page of WarCrafters, which is actually a subpage behind ohmtown.com. And you might notice that there are no advertisements on ohmtown.com. So if you want a site that's all news, no noise, and even less noise than something that would have generated revenue, thank you, Google, go over and check it out. Like and subscribe, and be sure to follow us here on twitch.tv/ohmtown and over on youtube.com/ohmtown, and download the podcast and visit the Discord, and there's a Patreon, but I always tell people just go over there and sign up. It lets us know that you're interested in the Patreon. We will eventually, hopefully this year, we'll be able to start releasing some Patreon only stuff, but right now we're concentrating on just getting our message out and hoping that people discover us, because we don't really advertise all that much, really. Like, might as well call it incidental. Anyway, we hope that you enjoyed the show, and we're going to get out of here. I am Mayor Watt, and I'm taking the AI. Oh man, I'm not used to you being over there. Taking the AI with me.
Good night, Hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's WarCrafters. Stay tuned for other weekly shows.
Yep, 5 more news articles that we talk about for about 30 minutes or so. The next show is Technology Today, and then after that is FourWheelTech. So stick around. See you in a little bit. Got to shut down. That ends our recording on YouTube and Twitch. And then we'll recontextualize the show, and we'll be back. So be sure to follow us. So see you soon. Bye-bye, YouTube.